And finally this hour, it's Friday, which means it's time for your weekly can't miss list. All the films and shows that are just right for another holiday weekend. For more, let's bring in entertainment journalist, pop culture expert, and esteemed friend of the show, Brian Balthazar. Brian, good morning to you. Let's start with the big budget gothic thriller Nosferatu. It's a new take on a classic vampire story. The trailer itself was enough to give me nightmares. What can you tell us about it?
Right. So good morning. So this takes place in 1830 Transylvania. A young woman is haunted by what we know is a vampire, Nosferatu, played by Bill Skarsgård and Lily Rose Depp in this one. And by the way, it's rated R, and if it were PG, it would stand for pretty gory. It is intense. So if you're faint of heart when it comes to blood and gore, I mean, he's a vampire. You got to show a little blood, right? But this is worth checking out if you like that. They're counter-programming the holidays. You know, this is something you would expect to see during Halloween, right? But they're doing this because this is an audience who has an appetite for something a little thrilling.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talking about this one, a lot of excitement. Now let's talk about a complete unknown. This is a biopic about Bob Dylan, but this is not the first film that's explored Bob Dylan, his storied life. What makes this one different?
This is interesting because it takes place during 4 years, early years in Bob Dylan's life. Timothy Chalamet, who does his own singing in this, stars as Bob Dylan. It's again, I think it's around the late 50s, early 60s. His career as he was emerging and evolving and kind of almost rebelling against the musical styles at the time, finding his own voice. Critics like it. It's audiences that actually really love it. So sometimes it's not always the same. Critics are more critical. Audiences are really embracing this, though.
Certainly are. Another film that's based on someone who broke plenty of barriers, The Fire Inside, telling the story of Clarissa Shields, a boxer from Flint, Michigan, who was the first U.S. woman to win an Olympic gold medal in that sport. I hear that's even getting some Oscar buzz.
Absolutely. Actress Ryan Destiny plays the role of Clarissa. This is so interesting, too, because not only did she win in the Olympics, then she went back and trained hard to win again, holds so many titles, a championship belt holder 13 times, won in undisputed three weight divisions simultaneously. But what's interesting about this is what happens after she wins her first gold, thinking her whole life is going to change, growing up in a poor family. And then it doesn't that much. She was hoping for all these endorsements, so she had to work hard. She came back, won again. It's a really great story. I think it's definitely worth one checking out. Really, Clarissa watched it and said it was incredibly true to her life.
Wow, fascinating. Can't wait to see that one. And now this next movie, a different kind of movie. I've already seen plenty of memes about it. Babygirl with Nicole Kidman. A bit of a reversal on the typical corporate power play type film. What can you tell us about this one?
Yes. What can I tell you about this one? Because it's a little racy. It's maybe you would call it an erotic thriller. Nicole Kidman plays a CEO who begins a kind of incredibly intense relationship with an intern at her company, where he is kind of the power player in the relationship. It's getting a lot of press. You're going to hear a lot about it. I don't know what to say about it. You know, you're a sci-fi guy, so I don't know which one of these is for you. I think maybe the next one is for you.
Yeah, this next one I really am curious about. Flow. It's got some Oscar talk already. I hear it's beautifully done using open source software and has no dialogue. So what exactly will we see here?
Right. So this is really interesting because, as you said, there's no dialogue in this, but it tells, and it's beautifully, just mesmerizing, beautifully animated. A cat who is kind of overcome by a tsunami and then ends up in a boat with a capybara, a bird, and a dog to navigate and find safety. And it's just beautifully told. Anyone who's seen it has fallen in love with it. I said this was the one for you. I actually was thinking of Squid Game that's on streaming. You might love this. I don't know, Stephen, but I was actually thinking of Squid Game
hey,
2, which is on
I'm
Netflix.
down for both. We are out of time, but hit or miss Squid Game Season 2?
Hit. I started watching it. I'm already in. Just watch it. But if you haven't watched Season 1, do that first.
All right, sold. Brian Balthazar, thanks so much.
Thank you.